How can you be successful taking online classes? I have come to find out that a lot of people, a lot of students who are taking online classes, for some reason they believe you have all the time in the world. This is not the case. You do not have all the time in the world. And reason why I'm saying that is because of procrastination. It happens when students are deciding to take online classes. And this is becoming more and more important as of now because of COVID-19. We have a lot of e-learning because a lot of schools are not having classes physically at their location. So what you need to understand, time management is key, because you do not have to go to a physical location does not mean that you do not need to do physical work. So do not end up thinking you have time to run out to the store or do some shopping or do some, as we say, essential type of activities, or hanging out with family that you have not seen in a while, because you are part of now of the e-learning and learning online because of COVID-19. So the first thing I tell people to do when you're taking an online class, you need to set a schedule. Time management. You don't have to worry about electronic scheduling application. Get one of those old handy dandy calendar books and write down what you are going to do, what you will be doing for your courses, where's your time going, and schedule your time and stick with it. That's the first thing. Time management is key. So if you're going physically to the location to have class, so think about it. You're taking a class and you're going to the physical location to take your class. Think about, you're in that class for what? An hour and 45 minutes, two times a week. So guess what? That's the same thing you must do in order to get the content. That's the first thing, the content. Because also think about once you finish going to class, learning the content, seeing what you need to do, you have other activities that you need to apply as well. So it's an hour and a half for the content twice a week. Now you need to do the work. So that's an additional 2 hours for those hour and a half content. So you need to schedule, guess what? A total, if it's 2 classes a week, a total of 8 hours in your schedule for one class. 8 hours for one class. So schedule them across the board inside your calendar. It may be an hour in the morning or half an hour in the evening, but make sure for each class, there's 8 hours of scheduled time for learning, reading the content, and doing the work that you need to do for that course. That's the first thing. The next thing that I recommend is looking at the announcement. Look at your weekly announcements from your professor. The weekly announcements. Now you might have a professor that is announcement happy. So inside the learning management system that you are using, most likely there is a notification button that you can turn on. Go in, and if it's not there and you don't know how to get the notification and turn on the notification, set a timer up for yourself, but also contact the technical support and ask them, how do I set the notification up so I can get notified if my professor end up sending or posting an announcement inside the announcement area. So as soon as you go into the learning management system every week, if it opens up on Sunday, go in and look at the announcement. If it opens up on Monday, go in and look at that announcement, because the announcement is telling you and it is guiding you on the direction that you will be going for that week. And then you sit down, you look at what you need to do for that particular week for this assignment, what type of research you need to do, and you find time. That's the first thing. Then a lot of times the professors want you to participate in discussion board posts. So the next thing is to do what I would do is go in once you read the announcement. Now the next thing that you would do is go and look at the discussion board. What do I need to be answering inside of the discussion board? Because now as you are reading the content and also reading the chapters for this week, that particular week assignment, you know what you're gathering your information and your content in order to answer the discussion board question. Also with the discussion board question, you're discussing. Think about you're sitting in, just like as you're sitting inside the classroom, you need to also find resources based on what you are discussing. Even if you're pointing back to the book, even though if you're pointing back to the content in the learning management system, you will still do that inside the discussion board. Then after that, usually inside the assignments, inside the discussion board, you will need to reply to at least the different universities I'm teaching at. Students must reply to at least 2 of the peers. Now, what you need to do when you are replying to your peers for the discussion board, you are giving substantial feedback to your peers. Not just, oh, yes, I agree that what you said, the color is blue. No, that is not substantial feedback. That is not how you give substantial feedback. If you agree that the color is blue, why do you agree that the color is blue? What type of resources can you connect? What type of personal experiences can you connect to that their reply, their initial post? What type of personal experience, what type of examples are you adding on to that? So it's not just a substantial feedback. It's not just a one-liner stating, yes, I agree, the color is blue. No, that's not it. That is not substantial feedback. If you want to, I will put a link in here on how to create substantial feedback, or go ahead and do your own research, your Google, looking up information on how to provide substantial feedback to discussion board posts. And again, it's stated at least you're getting graded on at least two feedbacks. Now, what I like seeing as a professor, when I see the conversation going, a student may end up replying to an initial post, then another student comes in and, oh yes, I found this wonderful video that can help us out here. This is how it helped me. And then another student comes in the string, and the discussion just starts going. And then I come in and I ask a question. I ask probing questions. So that type of engagement, because just remember, when you are working on discussion board posts, you are also networking with people, other peers that you may be looking at and working with inside the industry. So you're learning each other on the virtual platform inside of the discussion board posts. So inside the discussion board assignment, you're learning each other. Now, the professor may know more about you based on the individual assignments. However, sometimes there's some information that should be shared with your peers, because guess what? Your peers may say, oh, wow, this person can fit real well in this particular organization for a job. Think about that. The next thing that I also recommend when you're working on the discussion board post, if your paper, let's go back. If you may have a final research paper based on the content of this course. Inside the discussion board, other students are writing different content, and also they are given references, because you need to, inside your initial post, you should have some type of in-text citation and also references. So now it's more of a group research that allows to give you resources that you can apply to that final paper that you may be writing inside of your course. So use the discussion board assignments to help with. Also, one more thing. Sometimes inside the discussion board posts, what I've seen, the information can also support what needs to be supported inside of that paper, that final paper. Okay, now we talked about announcements, notification, and then discussion board. The next thing, communication is key. If you find out that you may start falling behind on your assignments, reach out to your professor, let your professor know. Just don't drop it, because most likely that professor can point you to a tutor at their institute. There may be tutoring, and also sometimes professors may have office hours that can help you via video. So look at communication is key, and if you believe you are falling behind, and also if you believe you may have help, also reach out to some of your peers inside the discussion board. I know with me, what I have a virtual, what I call it, a virtual discussion board, a virtual hangout inside of my learning management system. I do not monitor it. Yes, I have a Q&A that I do monitor, but I have a virtual hangout that allows students to go in and ask questions of each other and also give guidance. That's another thing. So we did announcements, discussions, substantial feedback, time management, notification, and also communication to your professor if you are falling behind. The next thing is learn to make sure you are using the resources, your writing centers. Inside most schools, students will go physically to the writing center, but a lot of writing centers are virtual now because you're online. So use the writing centers. The writing centers have people to help look at your papers, making sure you are writing in active voice, making sure you are following the particular guidelines. I don't know if you're using APA or MLA, but a lot of times what I've seen, you can send your paper to the writing center and have a critique of your paper and give you pointers on which directions you should go when you're writing your paper. That's another thing. But guess what? You can't wait till the last minute. Make sure your paper is done 48 hours prior to the submission of that paper. Send it to the writing center, get feedback, and add on to your paper. Make sure you're doing your APA. So use the resources. Use the different type of references and things like that. So hopefully this has given you something that will assist you as you are taking courses online. So remember, the first thing that you look at is the announcements. The next thing that you do, and what I've done and what helped me, and also what I see as a professor, is to look at the discussion board question and what I need to do. And then I start reading the content for this assignment, and I'm taking notes. Okay? So hopefully this end up helping you out as you will be successful on taking online classes.